We all set? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could everybody make sure that their cell phones are on silent or turned off, please? Seeing that there's no one for public forum, we're gonna move right down to E, new business.
I'd like to make a motion to approve E1 through 4.
Okay. Can I have a second, please? Thank you, Mrs. Kaiser. Any questions on the group? When you're ready.
Mrs. Kaiser,
Yes.
Mr. Dates,
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman,
Yes.
Mr. Nodine,
Yes.
Mrs. Allen,
Yes.
Mrs. Madigan.
Yes,
Passes 6-0-1.
thank you. Unless you have anything extra, does anybody have anything else for open session? Okay, then
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to something that we talked about last meeting, because we came to learn that there had been a proposal made for Inventive Minds, that had been asked for, proposals had been asked for it to be submitted. Who asked for those proposals?
That was what I explained that we came up with the union leadership, that we would do what's right for kids this year, run the things as they were approved, and then have the advisors put in proposals for next year to add additional clubs so we could fix Schedule B. So those proposals were asked for next year.
They were asked for not as a proposal for addressing this year.
Correct.
Do you think that was completely understood that way? That it was a next year's request for a proposal? Because what we heard the other night, there was an idea of a third grade level and a fourth grade level. Would that have been a proposal for next year?
For next year. That was the agreement that I had with the union leadership.
So then, but then if that were the case, why was it said that no new proposals would be accepted this year?
Because all the clubs were already approved for this year.
And then, what I've heard that it was that the board had decided no new proposals. Is that because
The board didn't meet on that. It wasn't brought to the board.
So it's not true that it was ever said that it was the board's decision to not have new proposals.
Correct.
Now we talked about the Science Olympiad back in the September. They split that stipend 3 ways. It wasn't 4 ways. It was between the three persons on that. And do we? Anybody looked into whether or not the century or the 21st century had been able to help offset some of their costs or some of their pay?
I don't know. I mean, that would have been last year. I wasn't here.
Right, that would have been last year, and in fact, last year it was split. But I've come to understand that they were able to submit their time, particularly at the end when they're down in Lemoyne, and it's a real long day, that they're there, that they're able to submit for their time through the 21st century. So the 21st century, I'm understanding, did support that program.
Could be if they had in a way meet or something. I don't know.
Well, they competition is what they had down in Lemoyne. I believe it was Lemoyne this past year.
It is.
Yeah. And maybe
Mr.
you
Dates,
drove
I gotta
this.
ask you, where are we going?
I'm
with
trying to
this?
find out because we heard like the other day that 21st century money couldn't be utilized to support Inventive Minds. But so doing a little digging, I've come to find that it did help support Science Olympiad in the past. So, and that I've heard that proposals were requested, and I think there was maybe a misunderstanding if it was thought that it was proposals for next year. but rather it was a proposal for this year. And really, I mean, we're talking about $900 in a multi-million-dollar budget, $900 to somehow figure out how to have the persons that were running that program, the Inventive Minds, be able to do that. And so I'm trying to figure out, I contacted you on January 3rd. When I'd heard of this, I'd sent an email and suggested a get-together of a small group to come up with a solution. And you said there was no need for that then.
We don't meet in small groups for the board.
We typically do when we're like on the facilities committee.
Yeah, but not to solve problems
negotiation.
like that. We don't meet to try to sway a vote.
It's not to sway a vote. It's
Well,
to-
if we would have met as a group and talked about it as a group, just like you're doing now, but there's no resolution to have this discussion under, even if you're looking for information, which I think is totally fine. I think that if you're the only one that's interested in having this discussion right now, I think that's maybe something that you can contact the superintendent about, and you can
Well-
get the answers that you're looking for.
But this is a board discussion, because the board has, I equate a lot of things back to what I do in refereeing. We look at when there's a mistake done in refereeing, it's called a correctable error. You have a correctable error. There's something that can be corrected. I think we have a correctable error opportunity to figure a solution to let the people that have run this program over the years, since there's been precedence of that, to have done that. It's disappointing that we didn't want to look under those rocks, pull back those layers to figure that out. So we are potentially having a program dropped. So I was told that there was a lot of advocacy for the program. Even Mr. Taylor told me he advocated for the program to occur. I also learned that he asked for the resignation. So why would he ask for a resignation for the people if he was advocating for them?
Mr. Dates, this questioning is inappropriate.
It isn't inappropriate. It's to bring it to the surface.
Is there a majority of the group that wants to continue this discussion tonight?
I don't think this is,
I don't think this is the
Time
right
for-
time to do this.
if I'm understanding correctly, and I just wanna make sure I am, this is a union issue. The union needs to rectify it, correct? The union needs to bring something forward to the board. I don't think there's anybody at the table that doesn't want Inventive Minds to happen. I think we all agree that we'd like the program to continue, but it is not something that we can rectify. It's a union.
Right.
I disagree that there is a way to rectify it with all the grant money
The
that was
stipends,
available.
the stipends are listed in the collective bargaining agreement.
Correct.
It states how much it will be. You can't pay them more.
Correct. Not suggesting you pay them more, but they had the opportunity to have, like they presented me with third grade level and fourth grade level.
That would be
You know,
paying them more.
That would be,
As stated, it
start-
was divided in half. It
That-
should have been divided in half.
in all
just
these
like
years that it
Science
hasn't
Olympiad.
been, and all
Just
these,
like Science Olympiad.
all these years that it hasn't been,
Nobody is asking to collect money for previous years.
no. But all the years that it hasn't been cut, I do feel that we're on ground ahead of precedent. So it's disappointing that we say in our mission statement, we're about striving for the good for all students and grade. And yet, we haven't figured out how to make this happen. And now we have a very unfortunate incident that's gonna affect possibly a lot of people. Now, I understand that possibly that Mr. Taylor approached somebody else about taking the program. Well, we were still trying to figure out a program, I thought, so, well, I guess that will be yet to be seen, if that can happen. But I just needed to have it be shared that that this could have been an avoided situation.
With the union, I believe, not with us.
Yeah, I was part of the negotiations, and you're correct, they were supposed to come back with Schedule B of information to
I
upgrade on
recall
that.
that conversation.
Yeah, they were supposed to do that. I mean, we did do a 3% increase at 3.5, over the Schedule B. We did approve that as it stands. But yet, it's just unfortunate that through this, we've not been able to figure out a solution. And now we've got persons that are not given the credibility for the years of time that they put in, that we couldn't come up with a solution here.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
For particular personnel matter? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Take that time, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Bates.